Hello, hello out there in Na'aleh land. We continue probing into the mitzvah of loving your neighbor the way you love yourself, cardinal mitzvah from the Torah, and today's class, Lili Nishmas Rachel Leah Bas Chaim Tzvi. We thank all the Na'aleh people who do so much to bring out Torah to everyone else. At this opportunity, we want to remind everyone to do your part as well. You're benefiting from this. Make your generous contributions to Na'aleh. Make at least any contribution to Na'aleh for all the work that they're doing on your behalf, and help promote this very worthy cause. Now, speaking about loving your neighbor as you love yourself, says Nachmanides, notice the Rambam. He questions the literal meaning of love your neighbor as yourself, saying the Torah could not issue a command because man cannot be expected to love someone else the way he loves his own soul. It doesn't mean that you can't expect even only Rav Aryeh Levin, maybe Shlomo Zalman Auerbach, but how could a regular person love their fellow person the way they love themselves? So what he says, the way the Torah means, is the following according to Rambam. We should wish our neighbor to enjoy the same well-being as we enjoy ourselves. And to have this wish without any reservation whatsoever. In other words, without trying to feel superior in any way to our fellow person. The fact of the matter is, really, bottom line, to feel the same level of love for our fellow person the way we love ourselves is an impossibility. Because if we were to fulfill this command to the letter of the law, then we'd have to grieve for our fellow sorrows just as we grieve for our own sorrows. And that would be intolerable. Because hardly a moment passes where we don't hear on the news about misfortune and tragedy. And again, a person shouldn't be callous to the suffering in the world. But if you're going to feel the suffering of someone else the way you're going to feel your own suffering, you'll be a miserable individual. So therefore, this will also explain to us why it is so critical, as we stressed in our last talk, to define the commandment in terms of behavior rather than emotions. The problem with emotions, like love, humanity, they're just too vague. They are very difficult, sometimes even impossible to delineate. Sometimes people who are emotionally and physically brutal to each other, some spouses to each other, some parents to their children are really rough. They're abusive to their children, and they will say in their own defense, I love my children. I love them. And at least they think they do. And parents who are known to be abusive, and they feel the same level they actually love their children, if this is true, that they do love their children, this underscores why it is so critically important to define love in terms of emotions instead of deeds. Otherwise, it's just pointless. You can say you love, that's an emotion, and you hurt, and you insult, and you punish. That's the deeds that really reflect what you're up to. But if you say, you don't mention, I don't know how much I love, but you act in a loving way, the deeds are so much more important than the emotions and the platitudes. Now, it is basically impossible to expect the masses of people to feel the same way, unbounded love for other people as they feel for themselves. But what can be commanded, what can be expected, is the acts of love, as if you truly care about someone else's well-being. There's another reason why the Torah commands us to love our neighbor rather than humanity in general. It's often harder to love our neighbors, the flesh and blood people who live right next to us, whose faults we're aware of, we find annoying, than to love mankind, people that we've never met. It's so much easier to say, I love everybody, when you don't know who they are. But when you know someone with all their foibles and all their faults, it's much more difficult to extend your love to these people. And bear in mind what the Sefer Hasidim says. Just as we love ourselves despite the flaws which we know we have, we should also love our fellow people despite the faults which we know they have. And just as we want other people to love us despite our faults, so too should we love other people despite their faults. So as yourself is what the Torah commands. Meaning, it's not enough to act towards other people in a kind way. We have to really ask ourselves, am I acting towards the other person? Do I want them to act towards me? Do I really want them acting towards the way? That's such a good criterion. Instead of the amorphous, to love the fellow person, am I acting towards them the way I want someone to act towards me? And once you have that frame of mind, that will guide your behavior. There's an important point that Rabbi Joseph Lushkin points out, which is that we have a tendency, we can love our neighbor is much harder than just saying love humanity at large. It's so much easier to love people we've never met, which is the very reason why people can be moved to tears by fictional characters in movies, or you read a novel, and you know that when the people have something sad, you begin to cry. And true also when they have such good things, when they fall in love, you can cry out of joy. You're so happy for them. And yet, when your neighbor has really misfortune, you don't get so grumpy about it as you're not moved to tears as when you see it in a movie or read it in a book. And likewise, when your neighbor has good fortune, when their child gets engaged, you don't find yourself, going into a crazy dance of emotional happiness. Most people do not, at least, the way you would if you read a book, or you read a novel, you see a movie.